even though missionary came and shared the gospel with me every day, I will not open my heart. It's because I told you I came from Buddhist background. I used to be a monk, and then one of my friends warned me, if you go to Thailand, be careful of Christian people. He said they will trick kids, they will give the kids lolly or biscuit, and then they will try to convert you to become a Christian. I remember after I moved to Thailand, but the first missionary that I met, they came to my school. Then they invited me to their house to come and study English. The first thing what they did to me, they offered me biscuit.
Hey everyone, it's Steve here at the Living Enviado podcast. And if you've been following me, I guess about a month or two ago, actually, I guess January and February, I did a couple of episodes on this walk for peace in the United States as these Buddhist monks were walking from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C. It was like 2,300 miles, something like that. I think it took about a little over 180 days for them to do it. And I was fascinated by it. I was intrigued by it. But what was, I guess, concerning to me was some of the comments I saw online by professing Christians. And if you didn't watch those episodes, you may not even know what I'm talking about, but we'll get into some of that in this episode. But this episode is going to be interviewing or having a conversation with a brother. Actually, I'm just now meeting for the first time through a mutual friend. And he actually comes from a Buddhist background. So he's going to help shed some light on Buddhism, how it relates to Christianity or a disciple of Jesus. And so without further ado, let's welcome my new friend, Wijit, all the way from Thailand.
Hello, Mr. Steve. Thank you very much for having me. Yes, for those who don't know me, my name is Wijit. Yeah, I came from Buddhist background. My family stay Buddhist until nowadays. I am the first person that became a Christian in my whole family. Yeah, I was born in Myanmar, but I moved to Thailand and spent most of my life in Thailand and grew up near the border of Myanmar and Thailand and grew up in the Thailand side. So, yeah.
Okay, well, let's just get right into it then. Why don't you just share your story about, your life as a kid? Because there's something interesting about you being a child and what was going on in your life is the reason why, David recommended I talk to you. So why don't you go into that and then talk about how you ended up in Thailand?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, also David also told me a little bit about you, and then he told me that you are interested and wanted to know more a little bit about Buddhism, and then you want to interview someone who came from a Buddhist background. So yeah, so just like I said, my name is Wijit, and I was born in Myanmar. I came from Buddhist background, where my village, where I came from, is everybody is Buddhist. So actually, when I was a little kid, I thought that there is only one religion in the entire world, which is Buddhism. I have never heard of Christianity, especially if you know about Buddhism. So I used to be a monk when I was a little kid because I came from quite a very poor family. So it is very common both in Thailand and Myanmar. If you came from a poor family, that if your family could not send you to school, then they will send you to the Buddha temple, Buddha monastery. That's what they call it. And then you go there and stay with a monk, and then you go there and learn and study with a monk. It's like going for Christian, maybe you would call it go to Christian school or Bible school like that. But for Buddha, you go to the Buddha school. So yeah, so I spent my childhood there from 8 years old until 13 years old. And then when I turned 13, my family moved to the border of Thailand. So my entire family, we moved to Thailand. And then from there onward, I live in Thailand.
So I'm curious because I know there's some stuff going on in Myanmar right now. Why did y'all cross the border into Thailand? I mean, was there a reason based on like recent activities going on in Myanmar?
Yes, that is one of the main reasons. Actually, if you watch the news in Myanmar, there is a civil war happening between the ethnic groups of people and the Burmese, the Myanmar people, And also, even though I was born in Myanmar, I was not Burmese. I was not the Burma people. I belong to a minority group of people called the Karen people. Yes, our Karen people and Myanmar people have been fighting over 70 years. If you watch the news, if you follow the news about it, the conflict still happening until this year. So because of that, a lot of Karen people, the Burmese military trying to get rid of the Karen people. So there's a shooting happening. So because of that, a lot of people have to immigrate to Thailand. A lot of Karen people, actually, a lot of my people end up living in the refugee camps until nowadays. Also, some of our people are lucky, and then they got to go to America through UN. UN program. So there's a lot of current people, current refugees that moved to America right now. But my family are staying in Thailand.
And I'm sure David's happy that you stayed in Thailand.
Yes.
So I'm curious because I don't know a whole lot about Myanmar. I mean, I've known some people who go there. I have some friends not far from where I live right now who have spent time in Myanmar doing. I won't get into what they did, but I don't want to get them in trouble because it was too public in terms of kind of their platform that they worked on there. But so so you've got your people group fighting against the Myanmar people. Are both sides of this conflict, are they both considered Buddhist people?
Yes, actually, the people that fighting with the Myanmar people, the Burmese military, are not just only my group of people. Also, in Myanmar, there are 8 main ethnic group of people. They all want to gain independence, so they are fighting for their own land. But the Burmese government want to control everybody, because of everybody fighting them. Yes, I would say most of the people in Myanmar are Buddhist, because Myanmar also a Buddhist country, just like in Thailand. So most of the people are Myanmar. But with my group of people, even with my group of people, we have divided into 2 parts. We have Christian and Buddhist. And then a lot of my people, the one that Buddhist, they kind of partner with the Myanmar people, so they don't fight with the Burmese military. But the Christian one, we also have the Christian army. Christian army is the one that we want to gain independence. We want to have our own country. So actually, the Christian armies are the one that fighting with the Burmese, not the
Really,
not the
the Christian army. Okay.
yes.
Okay. There's a lot I don't know about Myanmar. I mean, I did not, I did not know. I mean, I've heard of your people group. I've heard of the refugee crisis that's come out of there. I've heard of what is there's a Christian organization I know that David has interacted with. I can't remember the Americans guy's name that goes in and helps in Myanmar. Are you familiar with who I'm talking about?
I think you are talking about Free Burma Ranger. David Eubank, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I just did not know there was a Christian army trying to fight for independence. Are Christians oppressed in Myanmar?
Yes, because just like I said, Myanmar is Buddhist country. So actually, yeah, the Burmese people are good, but except for the military and then the government, they are not nice to the people. So they want to get rid of all ethnic group of people. They want everybody to under their authority. So some people they can't handle that. So because of that, we have to stand. And there is 2 ways. Either you surrender, go under them, or they can do whatever they want, or you have to stand on your own and then to fight for peace.
Okay, so I've been told so many times that Buddhism is strictly about peace.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're saying, and granted, you're saying the Burmese people, by and large, are have a good relationship with people like you, with Christians, right? I just want to make sure I'm getting the information correct. But of course, the government, who is also Buddhist, is not treating the Christians right.
The government not just only treating the Christian, but accept anybody who live in Burma. If you are not Burmese, if you are ethnic group of people, they want to get rid of you unless you surrender and you go under their authority. Like
so
that.
Everyone but a Burmese Buddhist, or they're going after everyone but a Burmese Buddhist. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so you came to Thailand as a refugee with your parents, and you obviously stayed in Thailand, as you said. So are you the only? I can't remember. You said something earlier. Are you the only Christian in your family?
The first Christian in my family. I became the first Christian in my family. But now I have 2 younger brothers. Now they both became a Christian. But my family, all my relatives are still Buddhist until today.
Okay, so tell me about how you became a Christian.
So yeah, just like I said, because I came from a Buddhist background, and then I moved to Thailand. Because I moved to Thailand and then I moved to the refugee camps, where my village. So at that time, there is a group of missionaries. They came to the border because of the civil war, and then they come to the border and then they start a school. They call that migrant school for the students who run from Burma, who move to Thailand, who have nowhere to go, so that they start a school there because they are Christian school. So I go to that school. So through that, every year we have a volunteer teachers, missionary from overseas, from Australia, from New Zealand, from America, from England, from all kind of different churches. They will come and stay with us. for a week or two, sometimes stay for a month, some will stay for the whole year. So through that, they also come and teach us English. Also at the same time, they also come and share about Jesus. But for me, it took me 8 years. At the time, I started from grade 5 all the way to grade 12. That's what we got until I graduate. For 8 years, I hear about Jesus every day. But I thought, oh, because I'm Buddhist, my family are Buddhist, so I cannot change my religion because I have to be Buddhist the entire life. That's what I thought. So I never really opened my heart until I moved to Chiang Mai after I graduated from high school. And then I came to Chiang Mai and then I met another group of Christians. And then I started going to church there. And then I learned more about God and Jesus. Then from there, I gave myself to God and I got baptized. From there onward, I became Christian.
I want to pause here for just a moment and encourage you to do something real quick. If you haven't subscribed already, then hit that subscribe button. If you haven't commented yet on this episode, then comment, especially if you're on YouTube. And if you haven't visited our merch store, I would encourage you to do so because that is a great way to support this podcast and to help us keep it moving forward. You can buy a coffee cup, tea cup, hot water cup. They're actually all the same thing. You just put different stuff in them. Buy a t-shirt, buy a hoodie, buy something. If you buy it, it supports this podcast. You get a great gift, and you can also buy it as a gift. So now that I've got that out of the way, let's get back to this conversation with Wijit. So how did your parents respond to you becoming a Christian and leaving Buddhism?
Yeah, that is a really good question because for me, when I first became a Christian, my family were not very happy, of course. Because the main reason that I became a Christian is actually, even though my parents are Buddhists, I call them Buddhists, but they call themselves Buddhists, but they don't really practice Buddhism. Let's say, for example, my family, they have problem with drinking alcohol. They drink, they fight all the time. Because I was like, what? You call yourself Buddhist? I think Buddhists don't do those kind of things, but you get drink and then fight all the time. Because of that, it make me don't want to become a Buddhist. And then I look at Christian family, it seems like Christian people are very happy. They understand each other, they forgive each other. But Buddhist people, their teaching is to have peace, to love one another. But in reality, they do the opposite because of that. And then when I became a Christian, at first they were not happy, but now they see my life. My life changed throughout the year for the past 13 years. Many things good happened in my life, and then now they accept me. And then also both of my brothers, now they became a Christian, and then my family, they accept it.
So you became the first believer, and then you said your brothers became believers? So how old, I'm just curious, your parents are still Buddhist, but are they having conversations with you about the gospel?
I'm trying to reach out to them, I hope I try to share the gospel to them, but they just think that is their part way of life because their parents are Buddhist, so most of their community, people surrounded them are Buddhist, so they just want to be Buddhist the entire life.
Sure. I mean, I can understand. I mean, they're being asked to give up something they've been told their entire life to be true. And like you said, you went many years just as a kid, really up until you left Myanmar, that you never even heard of Christians. They even went so much longer in life, probably not hearing much, if anything, about the gospel. So, we'll just keep praying for them. I'm sure you are. I'm sure David and your entire Within Reach Global family is praying for them. So you never know. God could still do that miracle one day. So hopefully they will. I've got friends who are in Hindu backgrounds, and they've got the same situation. Their parents are still, not, they haven't believed, but they just keep talking with them and hoping that one day something will change.
Yeah, actually, I have a funny story to share with you. The reason why it took me many years, for 8 years, is that even though missionary came and shared the gospel with me every day, I will not open my heart. It's because before I moved to Thailand, because I told you I came from Buddhist background, I used to be a monk, stay at the Buddhist temple. And then one of my friends warned me. He know that I was going to Thailand. And then he said, if you go to Thailand, be careful of Christian people. He said, Christian people, especially when they see kids, they will trick kids. They will give the kids lolly or biscuit, and then they will try to convert you to become a Christian. I remember after I moved to Thailand, when I go to my high school, to the Christian school, I remember the first missionary that I met. They came to my school, and then they invited me to their house to come and study English. The first thing what they did to me, they offered me biscuit. They say, here, some biscuit. I was like, oh, I know your trick. And then they did, after they offered me biscuit after I ate, instead of teaching me English, they teach me the Bible. I was like, I will never become a Christian. I know your trick. My friend already warned me about you guys. Because of that, I closed my heart for 8 years.
That's funny because I can picture that happening. So I'm curious after 8 years. I mean, what was it? Obviously, you became a Christian. Did you ever feel forced to become a Christian?
Yeah, that's why after 8 years, and then I realized that actually the people that lying on me is not the missionary, actually my friend. I believe in his line for 8 years. And then after, because missionary they come every year. I keep asking myself, why these people keep coming back every year, even though nobody care, nobody want to hear what they teach, nobody want to become a Christian. They still coming back every year during Christmas time. They will bring us present, Christmas gift. I was like, why these people are so nice? They also not only come from one country. Some are Australia, New Zealand, America, England, from different countries, but they all come and share about Jesus. I was like, why these people keep telling us about Jesus? So and then they are so nice. Nobody like forced me. Within 8 years, nobody like, hey, you have to become a Christian. You have to become a Christian. None of them force us. So I was like, that does not make sense from what my friend told me. These people will try to convert you to force you to become a Christian. That's not true.
That's funny that your friend was afraid that they were going to force you to become a Christian. And of course you got the biscuit. I mean, you got the biscuit just like he predicted. But sometimes it just takes time for people to see that we're not trying to force them to do anything. It's just here's the message. It's like if someone knew the cure for cancer. But they were just too afraid to share because they were, people might think, or you're forcing me to accept your cure. Well, the reality is all we can do is share that message with someone. And they were obviously doing something nice and trying to teach you English at the same time. But of course they were going to share the gospel while they do it. But it's cool. I love this story. I love the fact that it took you that long. It doesn't bother me one bit that you waited 8 years because you just needed time to see it's the authenticity of the missionaries you were interacting with. So
I have one more story, the other side. The main reason why it took me 8 years, because another part is because I just shared with you earlier, with my people, we have Buddhist and then Christian. And then my people, the Korean people, we fight with the Burmese. And then my people, the Korean people, the Buddhist one, they partner with the Burmese. And then the Christian one is the one that fighting with the Burmese military. That's why my friend told me that if you become a Christian, the Christian group will give you gun and then you have to come back and fight your people. There's another story. That's why 8 years, I wait for 8 years and I was like, how come this missionary, they never give me a gun, they never want me to go back and fight my people. Nobody gave me the gun.
So you became, before we hit record, you said you became a Christian 13 years ago. So you were about 20 years old, you said. And I mean, what has life been like since you've become a Christian? Like, just tell us about the last 13 years.
The main reason why I became a Christian is especially in my last year of high school. At that time, I really struggled with my life and I don't know what to do. I want to continue to study, but just like I said, I came from a very poor family. So my family could not support me to go to school. So especially I really want to go to university. So I start praying at that time. At that time, I was doubting. I was like, I don't, in my heart for 8 years, I heard a lot about gospel, so about Jesus. So I already believe in Jesus, but in one heart, because my family are Buddhist, so I respect them. I pray a lot, especially in my last year of high school. I said, God, I don't know which God to choose, Jesus or Buddha. If you are really God, do something, help me. So I pray to God and then I say, I want to continue to go to school. If whoever help me, if Buddhists help me, I will become Buddhist. I believe that Buddha is God. If Jesus help me, I believe that Jesus, you are God. Through that prayer in my last year of high school, God did miracle to my life. And then there's one missionary from New Zealand reached out to me. Then she said, she asked me, Wijit, what are you gonna do after you graduate? I said, I want to continue to go to school, go to university, but my family could not support me. And then she was like, oh, my family want to support you to go to university. We will pay for your university, pay for your accommodation, pay for food, everything if you are willing to go. I was like, wow. And then I told that family, I said, I am not a believer. I am a Buddhist, you know, right? They said, we don't care whether you are Buddhist or Christian. We just want to help you. So because of that, and then I left my village and then I moved to Chiang Mai City to go to university. From there onward, I want to know more about. I was like, why this Christian is so nice to me? Even though I told them the truth, I am not a believer, but they still want to support me. Why they are so kind to me? So at that time, my heart started opening. I want to know more about God. So luckily, I came to Chiang Mai, and then next to my university, there is a church, Christian church. So I start going there, and then I met with the pastor. The pastor also met me for the first time, and then welcomed me very nice. He said, "Make yourself at home." As soon as I walked into the church, that's I was like, "Wow, these people, they have never met me before, but they welcome me." They said, "Make yourself at home." And then I want to know more about God. And then I went to the pastor and then told him that I want to know more about Jesus. And then the pastor started teaching me the Bible. It took me 1 year. So I moved to Chiang Mai back in 2013. I came in March. I studied with that pastor for until December, the 1st of December. Since that day, many things changed. Everything changed in my life. I started having a friend, people that surrounded me. I already surrounded myself with Christian. I go into church every Sunday. I go and join the cell group every Wednesday evening. And then also because my church, we have intern from overseas, they come so that because of that, I get to meet with people from overseas and I get to practice my English and then my Thai. And then year passed by. 4 years later, I graduate. After I graduate, I got to go to New Zealand to go to Bible college for 1 year. I did my internship. I went to New Zealand. I did my internship for 1 year. At that time, also, I have to take some Bible courses. I took Bible classes. And then after that, I came back to Thailand and then I met my wife and got married. And then I got a job with Enrich Global. I got a job with Enrich Global. And then one day, we had a short-term mission team. They want to go to the village. And then I have to go and translate for them. Then I translated for them. And I was like, wow, maybe this is what God has prepared me for a long time. God has given me with language skill. I speak Thai, I speak Korean, I speak English, I also speak Burmese. So when I go to the village, I translate for them. So and then I talk to my wife. If this is what God is really calling us, then I think we need to do more Bible study. And then I talked to my wife. After we worked with Reach Global for 2 years, and then we went to New Zealand for another 2 more years. We just came back last year, actually. We went to South Pacific Bible College, and then we studied there for 2 more years. Now we come back and then serve as a full-time, as a local missionary. We work with university students. When we have a short-term mission team, we take them to the village, we translate for them. Also at our local church, my wife and I, we also serve there, like I preach there once a month. We also help with cell group, leading cell group right now.
So Wijit, I do have a question about, it has to do with the 2 episodes I already did about the walk for peace in the United States. And I know you said you heard about it as we were talking before we hit record. You didn't really look into it too deeply, but I do want to ask some questions because there were some intriguing things that came up during, after I released that video that people were commenting on the video, but also some things I'd noticed prior, which actually caused me to record the episode to begin with, because it was a little bit concerning because we have, in the U.S., I wasn't, and just to be upfront, I wasn't against this walk for peace that these Buddhist monks were doing. I mean, if you look at the world, especially right now with the war in the Middle East, I mean, Christians are called to be peacemakers. So we should, as believers, be trying to promote peace, not promote war. And so in the process, there isn't, I wasn't speaking against the monks themselves, but I was concerned about some of the way Christians were talking. And I'm going to throw this out to you. Since you were a monk and a Buddhist, I would love to hear your insight and your thoughts on that. So one of the things that came up was the Buddhist monks, or Buddhism itself is not a religion. This was being said over and over and over, irregardless of what some of the things the Buddhists were actually posting on their Facebook page. Had like 2.7 million followers as a result of this walk for peace. And so there's a lot of people, especially people who identify as being a Christian, who are saying this is not a religion. So I'm curious your thought. Well, I guess you tell us, is Buddhism a religion? Is it a philosophy, or is it both?
Well, if you ask Thai people, of course, they will say that Buddhism is a religion. But if you ask non-Buddhism, they will say that Buddhism is just a philosophy, Because if you, because the, yeah, because a lot of Buddhism teachings are, of course, you can say that like a philosophy. They will teach you like if you do good, good thing will happen to you. If you do bad, bad thing will happen to you. And then yes, most for the main Buddha teaching is all about peace, basically. It's if you the main reason that people are suffer is because you wanting more things, you want to have more stuff, so that the main if you want to get rid of those sufferings, what you have to do is to let everything go off, to let off everything. So they don't really teach you like to go to heaven or anything like that. He said even Buddha said that nobody can help you. You have to help your own. So you have to do a lot of good things. Right? In some way, in real life, if you do good, yeah, sometimes there's a higher chance that good thing will happen to you. If you do bad thing, there's a higher chance that bad thing will happen to you. But it's not always go that way. Sometimes you can see that bad people also getting very rich, that a lot of good things happen to them. Good people sometimes accident can happen to them, they can die. But if you ask whether Buddhism is religion or philosophy, for Buddhism, that's their religion, that's what they believe, that their religion. But if you look deep, it is just like a philosophy.
Thank you. That's what I've been saying. Of course, not coming from a Buddhist background, people don't see me as one with authority. So I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on that. And I'm curious. So I know Buddhism teaches inner peace. As we say, like we're trying to, or according to a Buddhist, especially these Buddhist monks, that their Facebook page said they were out to promote inner peace, which is different from the Prince of Peace. So it's different from gaining peace through Christ. It's trying to work if I'm understanding correctly, you're trying to make the peace up yourself. Like it's all dependent on you. Like, is that correct, or am I misunderstanding it?
Yes, because in Buddha teaching is everything have to come from you. You have to do everything on your own. It's compared to Christianity, it's different. We can't do everything like Jesus. He's the one that gave us peace. We can't really do good to go to heaven. Jesus is the one that can help us to go to heaven. But for Buddhism, it's like you are the one that you have to try. If you want to have peace, then you have to do on your own. Everything is on your own. You can't rely on anybody.
I appreciate your thoughts on that and just explaining to us exactly what's going on. So I'm also curious. So out of this walk for peace, one of the things, so when they left, I didn't watch the whole thing because it's 180 days, but I learned about it when they were probably a couple of weeks into it. And I learned about it because one of the monks tragically got hit during the walk by a vehicle. He ended up having, I don't know if one or both legs amputated. I can't remember, but I know he had at least one leg amputated, and he was in the hospital, so he had to stop and he couldn't go further. But then he joined them later on, just following them on a vehicle. And one of the things I kept seeing early on, and there is a term for this, it's called syncretism. Sorry, I said it wrong the first time. Syncretism. It's when you're marrying together two ideas, two beliefs, two religious systems into one. So I kept seeing, especially from people who identify, and I use that word very specifically, that they identify as a Christian, that they are a Christian Buddhist. And what I mean by that is according to what they're saying, they're born into a Christian family. They claim to believe in Jesus. They claim to believe in God as we do. At least they say that. But because Buddhism's not a religion, they say we can marry Buddhism into Christianity and practice both. So what I saw was people who, now not everyone who was doing this was a Christian, but I saw people identifying as Christian, receiving like blessings, like Buddhist blessings from the monks. And then they would, when the Buddhists would stop for the evening, The Buddhists, the monks do what they do. You know, they stop, they eat, and then they would have their times for I don't know what you would call it, Buddhist prayers or Buddhist chants. They would go through that process every night, and they would invite people to join with them. And so there would be identified people, identified as Christians, participating in the Buddhist prayers. So I'm curious what your thoughts is on Christian Buddhisms and Christians being involved in Buddhist prayers or chants.
Very interesting. Because in Thailand, actually, we don't see that way very much, but we see the other way around. Because in Thailand, especially the Buddhists, because even though they call themselves Buddhists and then Buddhist as a religion, but also they believe that every religion teach you to be a good person, to do good. So they also, some of the Buddhists, they will take Buddha, Christian teaching. Some of them, they love Jesus. They say, oh, I love Jesus teaching, especially Jesus teach people to love one another, Jesus helping the poor, because those kind of teaching, of course, in Christianity, we also have those kind of teaching. We have to love one another. We have to help the poor, widow, and, those kind of people. But what you are saying is the other way around. It's like, but in Thailand, we don't see many Christians that we participate with the Buddha, but we see a lot of Buddhists that we agree with the Christian teachings. So if you ask my thought on about those kind of thing that the Christian go and see the monk walk around, because if you look the other way around, like also Jesus teaching, Jesus also teaches us to help everybody. Everyone is our neighbor, just like the Good Samaritan. If you look in that way, they also, those Christians also doing a good thing. They see the monk needing help, they stop by, they see what they are doing good, because those monks are trying to promote peace in a good way. So
So what about Christians participating in the Buddhist prayers?
that is another story. I think if you know the Bible, truly there is only one God, because in Buddha teaching that you can choose any God, but for Christian, Jesus is the only way, the truth, and the life. So you have to stick in that one. And I would not encourage the Christian to go and participate with the monk and then join their prayer. They might not pray to our God, they might pray to the idol or other spirit, other gods.
I mean, I agree with you. I do think there was an issue with Christians participating in that and participating in a Buddhist blessing, receiving a Buddhist blessing. But you are right. I say, irregardless of where someone comes from, if someone's in need and we have the capacity to help and they're truly in need, then yes, we should, which is something I advocated for, that if they had, come near me and they needed something, then we should provide them water or food or whatever it is to help them along the way. But my primary focus was that's separate from participating in the Buddhist rituals. And it's actually not what believers should be doing. We can serve them, we can love them, we can care for them physically, but we shouldn't be participating. So, or participating in the actual rituals themselves. So thank you for giving me your insight on that.
Also, because here in Thailand, sometimes when we have the short-term team coming to Thailand, we also take them to the Buddhist temple to go and learn from the Buddha to the monk. We call them monk chat. Sometimes we take our team there. Of course, our heart is we want to go and share the gospel to the monk. Sometimes the monk also will share what they believe, what about Buddhism. So we exchange. But we don't go to the temple and bow down like the Buddha people, but we go and listen to them, so exchange. And then at the end, we try to say, okay, they say in Christianity, this is what we believe. It's okay to talk, to exchange.
And for those who don't know what Within Reach Global is, I would encourage you to go back to one of our November episodes where I interviewed David Joannes, who is the founder of Within Reach. Tell us what you do at Within Reach. Like, what is your role, and how do you involve people when you do ministry there?
So at the moment, me and my wife, we have two main roles. Actually, the first one is doing ministry with the university students. So that is one of our main roles, my wife and I. So what we do is during the week time, we go to university, we go and we eat lunch with the university students, and then we talk to them. And then sometimes if we have opportunity, and then we share the gospel with them. But mainly, while we do this every Friday night, my wife and I, we run a university game night at Red Panda Game Room. If you come to Chiang Mai, on the third floor, they have a game room. So every Friday night, we invite all university students from, there are many different universities here in Chiang Mai, like Chiang Mai University, Ratchapat University, Phayap University, Metro University, so on. So we invite all the university students to come and play game with us. So what we do is we feed them food, we provide dinner for them. After that, we play games, and then we also have prize for them. If they win the prize, they get a free drink from Red Panda coffee shop. And then what most important thing is what we do is we share the gospel with all the students that come. So at the end of the night, so we started at 6:30. From 6:30 to 7, we eat dinner. From 7 o'clock to 7:45, we just play game. And then from 7:45 to 8:30, that is the gospel time. So we share the gospel message. Sometimes I will pick a passage from the Bible and then I will share, encourage the student. And then sometimes we will share our testimony. Sometimes we just pick one student who came from a Christian and then they share their testimony also. Also this year, we're also doing something different. We want to focus more on the discipleship. So the students come also within Rich Global, we have a discipleship material, the curriculum that our boss used for a long time. So we just started that book also. We use the book, discipleship material. So that is what we do every Friday night. That is our main job. My wife and I, that's our main job. Also, whenever we have a short-term mission team from America, from Philippines, from England, whenever they will come and stay with us for normally 2 weeks. Whenever they come, so we take them to the village to do village outreach. Even though we live in Chiang Mai, but we will take them to Lamphun, another province. It's like 1.5 hours away. There are a lot of villages animist village. So we go there, we partner with the local pastor, and then they will take us to the village. So we go there, we do house to house visit. We go and talk to the people in the village, and then we share the gospel message to them, and then we invite them to come to church. Also, if someone interested, want to become a Christian, then we send the local pastor to go and do follow up with them. So, and then my wife and I, if we have team like that, we will translate for the team. That is another role that we do.
So you mentioned some things that you have teams that come. So if someone, a church or a group of people from, let's say, the United States, if they want to come and serve alongside within Reach, or they want to come and be involved in what you're doing, like how can they get in contact with you, or who should they contact?
Actually, if you go down within Reach Global page, you will see they have a short-term mission team, short-term, or you can go. They also have an internship for the young people. They want to come and internship for 3 months or 6 months. You can sign up there. If you go on the within Reach Global page website, and then you will see all the information. You can bring a short-term team, and then we have all the information there. There is one lady, her name is Katie. She will get in contact with you.
I hope this episode was encouraging and challenging to you. And if it was, I would encourage you to go out there and share it with 5 people and share it with your church, especially if you're looking to learn about Buddhism, about how to reach Buddhists, how to get involved with reaching Buddhists, how your church can be involved with reaching Buddhists. I would encourage you to share this with them so they can learn what Wijit is doing and to learn his story, because the more you know, the more equipped you are to be able to share the gospel with Buddhists right now. And so, as I said earlier, I would just encourage you, subscribe to this podcast, help us get this out in front of more people, comment, especially if you're on YouTube, and don't forget to rate us if you're on another platform, because we would love to engage with you. And if you have suggestions on a topic that you would love for me to address on this podcast, please let me know. Go through our website, livingenviado.com. You can send a message through there. You can post a message on the comment section on YouTube for this episode, wherever. We would love to hear from you. And just like Wijit is doing, I would just encourage you, as always, get out there for the sake of the gospel, live bold, live courageous, and live Enviado.